So adding and subtracting complex numbers is pretty straightforward, but we'll just run through a few examples just to get you used to it. It's essentially the same. You can think about it like adding and subtracting with a variable x. It's very similar. So in the first case, we have this complex number, and remember every complex number has a real part and an imaginary part. So all we do is we distribute this out, so it's going to be 2 plus 3i plus 1 minus I, and they're just going to group these together, and just think about it as you want to match up in the same basket all the real parts and all the imaginary parts. So 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3i minus I is negative 2i. So that's it. So in our second example here, we're going to subtract now. It's pretty much the same thing. We're just going to distribute out. So 1, just get rid of the brackets, minus 2i, now minus I squared, and a negative 3i. And now, of course, remember that I squared is actually equal to negative 1. So what we have is 1 minus 2i minus 1, which makes a positive, minus 3i. So now again we're just going to group together the real parts, and this was real. So 1 plus, or negative, so 1 plus 1 is 2, and negative 2i, negative 3i is negative 5. Whoop, I always use j there. That's actually that's important. You can denote the complex number by I or j. If you're dealing with electricity, I is commonly used for current, so sometimes we'll use j instead. But just to be consistent, we'll stay with I. Okay, so that's done. And now just one last example. So we've got addition and subtraction. So again, we're just going to break it out. So 2 plus I plus 3 minus 2i, then negative 1, negative of a negative is positive I. And this we're going to group together. So that's real, imaginary, real, imaginary, real, imaginary. So 2 plus 3 minus 1, and then we have plus I minus 2i plus I, and this comes down, so 5 minus 1 is 4, and then we have positive I, so positive 2i, minus 2i, so this is plus 0i. And this is how you would represent the complex number, as the 0 with the I still there. And that's pretty much it. Okay, thanks. Have an excellent day.